Blessed sons and daughters of God, I, Cyclopea, address you this night in the fullness of the emerald ray, pouring forth from out the heart of God in the great central sun, establishing a pillar of light, an obelisk, not unlike my own, focus upon the altar in the great central sun, one that allows you to visualize your consciousness, being, and world saturated with the emerald ray and allowing for the fullness of the patterns of God identity to be woven, fashioned, and formed into life. The emerald ray is most scientific, for in exercising more of the emerald ray, you were able to bring forth myriad points of light, dazzling, effervescent, that work together in concert, most scientifically, mathematically, harmoniously, to bring about creation. When you elect to engage in bringing forth a creative idea, it is fashioned and formed by the mind of God, and then deposited within your own outer consciousness by the crystallization of the emerald ray, so that you might take from the golden elixir of wisdom and fashion and form the emerald ray round about, so that it will cognize the high ideal of how to bring to bear that which was born in the heart of God, the mind of God, the will of God. Throughout the ages, you have embraced life to its fullest. But can you say that that fullness of life has always been pure? Have you had wisdom at the core of your being to be able to fashion and form all of your identity in God as was intended? You have learned how necessary it is to hold fast to purity. For the emerald ray to perform its perfect work, it requires not only the will of God to thrust it forth, with the power to manifest it, the wisdom of God in illumination's flame, the love of God desiring it into the fullness of action, the purity at the core of its being, held inviolate all the way through the process of creation, finalizing that which you have drawn forth out of the recesses of the mind of your own God presence into actuality, manifesting right within your grasp all that your God presence has willed, desired, and sent forth for you. But in the lives that you have lived, have you truly exercised all of the God talents available to you to bring to the fore God good. The time has come for you individually to exercise the will of your God presence in determining whether or not you will live according to the truth of cosmic law. It is not easy. The stories of old, of those ascended and cosmic beings that have gone before you, and their trials and tribulations, have spoken directly to the difficulty with which to overcome. But you have all that you require to do just that. Overcome and be God victorious. But it does require the truth of cosmic law, which you are learning daily from this altar. The perpetual sound of the voice of the ascended and cosmic beings streaming forth throughout the ethers is so charging the mental plane that there will be the depositing within the consciousness of the sons and daughters of God, even unbeknownst to their life stream in the outer, certain of the teachings that we have delivered from this altar. How then is it that they will come to know where to find the voice, the source, the divine cosmic law as intended for their life stream, to have the further examination and ultimately internalization into their life? How will they know where to come? The answer is most clear and evident for those who have touched the hem of the garment of their own mighty I Am presence, who have internalized the light and the momentum of Elohim. It is for you to stand as a pillar of light. And when you are galvanizing the emerald ray in your consciousness and standing within the obelisk of the emerald outpouring of your own mighty I Am presence, you are sending forth and telegraphing through all of the planes of consciousness the emerald matrix of the perfection of God in all of the forms of divine nature that are to come to be and that have ever been created. The Akashic record of old, that of the present now, and all of the future that will come to be according to the divine plan of the Creator, the allness of God, comes forth by the multiplication of the emerald ray and the sciences woven into that emerald ray that bring you the music, the beauty of the arts, the health and creativity that you desire. Blessed ones, grasp the truth of the identity of God that you are. Breathe upon it the breath of your own threefold flame, and allow for the fullness of the ray of your God presence to stream forth effortlessly into your life, so that you might be the fullness of the co-creator with the Almighty, even in this physical octave. When we, the Elohim of the emerald ray, send forth the charge and momentum of our consciousness, our attainment, it is so that you might build upon that which is already perfect and whole within you. It is so that cosmic law may take on more of the awareness of truth in the outer consciousness of the sons and daughters of God. It is so that there can be a golden age. And that golden age, blessed one, comes because you have internalized the very presence of God. You have fostered a way of life that allows for the fullness of the co-creation with God to manifest in all of your affairs, all of your way of life, all of your governments in the land. And you have so sown the seeds of the emerald ray, and that attainment which you have garnered, that the land springs up in the beauty and glory of God, giving way to the patterns of life, intricate, magnificent, that cannot be fashioned by a human mind or ever dreamed of. It takes a God to bring forth all that has come to bear upon the earth. And that is where the Elohim have answered the call of the hierarchy of light, to sow seed the earth with the heart's desiring of the allness of God, the patterns of God identity, so that the fulfillment of God may come into manifestation. Your mighty I Am presence has desired to come forth to the earth in this incarnation that you wear as a threefold flame, so that it may share in this glorious fabric of life and expand its own intrinsic nature of the presence of God in the earth, the water, the fire, air, akasha, building, creating, and taking command by the Christ light of the heart flame over all that is to come to the fore. You, blessed hearts, must be willing to engage in such an adventure, for it is truly the adventure of your own mighty I Am presence. The single-eyed vision of your own God presence for your outer vehicles is to obtain the talent, the momentum, and the God identity that streams forth effortlessly through your outer vehicles, establishing upon earth, water, fire, air, akasha, that which is streaming forth from the heart of God in the realms of perfection, the ascended octaves. But it requires the adeptship of the sons and daughters of God. A Herculean task, yea, it is. But you are up to that task. You can bring to the fore all that a Hercules could accomplish, all that an Apollo could accomplish. Yes, blessed ones, the raw talent and the presence of God is right within you, ready to spring into action by the waters of life that you will draw forth from the heart of God. But in doing so, there is the creative aspect of the emerald ray that you must learn how to draw forth. Once it is seated in the position of Christ command, all is effortless. The striving ceases, and the hand of God takes over and performs the perfect work. But getting to that state requires much striving. And you, blessed hearts, have striven mightily in many of your incarnations, even now, proving the law, exercising the disciplines that you have known. But now the refinement of those disciplines must bring you into a greater rapport with the mighty I Am Presence. There can be no turning a blind eye to foibles that you allow to continue on. You must allow for the fullness of purity, of God love, of wisdom, of the will of God, and of the Christ command of the emerald ray to come to the fore. For in that fivefold action you have the command of earth, fire, water, air, akasha, and all that God presents to you to manifest, to overcome, and to be God victorious. Holding to the single-eyed vision of your ability in God to draw forth the perfection of God is most key to your victory. For without it, you will lose sight of your destiny, scattering your attention throughout the world in all manner of shiny baubles that will take your attention away from the dazzling light of the mighty I Am Presence. Could require many, many incarnations to once more reach to this level of opportunity where the voice of God speaks directly to you, where you hear it through the physical ears, where it troubles and charges your emotional body, just as the waters were troubled by the holy angels. And you, blessed hearts, can make the difference of the golden age by the refinement of your life and the galvanizing of the light of Elohim into active modes of expression of God. You are forging, as sure as you are breathing in the breath of life this hour, the golden age for the earth. And it is that golden age that is the goal for all of life upon the earth. And the individualizations of God that forge their ascension in the light are the nodes of light, cosmic light and divine expression of the Most High that assure the golden age will come at the appointed hour. For you are establishing that golden age of one here and now. And in the fullness of the pillar of light that you anchor in the earth, when you take your ascension in the light, the charge that goes forth throughout the planes of consciousness during that event marks an elevation of the consciousness for mankind. Every ascension elevates opportunity and the light for those who remain. So you see, blessed ones, it is not a selfish endeavor to put your attention upon the ascension and to galvanize all of the forces to bring to bear the multiplication of the light and the expansion of the light upon the altar of your heart, so that you will be the fullness of your mighty I Am presence here and now. It is for the greater good of all that you make your ascension. It is the greater good of all that you draw forth the light of the 12 mighty Elohim and their divine complements. For in drawing that light forth, you are establishing momentum that establishes upon the earth a raying forth of the light of God that nourishes the land, that charges the water element, that instills within the fire bodies that which is pure to bring about. And when the mental body is whole and healthy and desirous of those areas of life that are pure, all upon the earth changes. This is why there must be a writing of what is presented before the youth and the children of the world, for they are losing their destiny. They have lost the purity, and it must be regained. And you, blessed hearts, can call forth the emerald ray as the emerald matrix is established once again in the world of the children and youth, of their parents, their guardians, so that there can be a new generation that comes to the fore, ready to receive the truth of cosmic law, to accept that perfection and purity are not outdated and belong to some previous time in history, that there is a way of life that can be lived that is harmonious and peaceful, that allows for all to live according to their own command of the mighty I Am presence, without harm to any other part of life. Yes, I am speaking of a golden age, but it will be galvanized by the future generations that are taught by this generation and the next, leaving the seed ideas of cosmic law that allow for the purity to take hold. And the golden age of one becomes the golden age of many, and the many become the earth round about. And it is glorious to behold. And it all began with the few galvanizing the emerald ray from out the heart of God and the great central sun, drawing forth sufficient of the emerald ray through this dispensation to build their own shield of Elohim as a constant reminder of the responsibility that they bear for the golden age. Yes, that is a daunting task to a human consciousness, but not to the mighty I Am Presence, not to the heart flame that is born out of the heart of God and has accepted their role, their mission in life, to be all their presence desires of them. And for that we, the Elohim, have drawn forth the shield of Elohim for your protection, for your guidance, to remind you, to call forth particular elements to assist you in your victory, in your overcoming, in your mastery and attainment, and building the momentum on these God qualities and the pranic breaths that are required for your victory, and ultimately the victory of the earth. So when I, Cyclopea, my beloved, stand in your midst and proclaim the victory of the earth, it is with a surety that we do so, for we know how undaunted the emerald ray is when it is invoked, and it is a force of the river of the golden helicon that draws forth all that you require to fulfill the divine destiny of life upon the earth. And when life is saturated with the emerald ray, it responds to that Edenic blueprint and pattern of the purity that you have already witnessed by the Elohim of purity and Astrea. And when the desiring of the heart of God comes to the fore, the emerald ray rushes to build upon that desiring of God in the fullness of love. Wisdom's ray is a natural occurrence within as the golden elixir of life in the emerald ray. And when the will of God is furnished in sufficient power, you see glistening within that emerald ray the hue of the blue ray of the power of God, drawing forth all of the power that is necessary to crystallize and manifest the fullness of all that is inherent within that divine attribute of God that is being created. So you see, blessed ones, you are intended to have the fullness of the building blocks of the 5 mighty Elohim, to even begin the process of life upon the earth. Let your life reflect our momentum of God attainment as you build toward the fulfillment of your shield of Elohim throughout this cycle. Let that emerald ray that is builded by the preceding 4 rays of Elohim be the power, the truth, the cosmic light that makes the difference for you and allows for the fullness of the creativity that you require to be more of God. As we stand in the earth as a pillar of emerald ray, we hold our vision upon you and the earth in that pristine perfection of the truth of cosmic law. And that is the momentum that is afforded by the Elohim of the green ray of the emerald matrix. You blessed hearts must drink in that emerald ray and make it your own. Establish for yourself and for the earth a momentum of calling forth the emerald matrix for your healing, your wholeness, for the multiplication of all of the gifts of the gods and the talents of your own God presence. Let the emerald ray stream forth from out the heart of God in the great central sun, entering the earth this night in the fullness of momentum that will establish upon the earth all that is required for your shield of Elohim to stay in the fullness of its activity until the golden age has drawn to the fore through your vehicles of consciousness and the earth. I commend you to the victory of this attainment, for as sure as I am Elohim Cyclopea, the vision of God is upon you to fulfill your fiery destiny. Let that vision be fulfilled this day in the acceptance of our momentum and our ray of God identity.